send my designation letter of my appointment as United Nations Resident Coordinator to the Republic of Azerbaijan. It's a privilege to be here and lead the United Nations system to support Azerbaijan in developing further and achieving sustainable development goals.
Welcome, I'm very glad to see you. I wish you a pleasant stay in Azerbaijan. As you know, Azerbaijan has always been a very active member of the United Nations, and we've been even elected as a non-permanent member of Security Council some 10 years ago by a very large support of international community. 155 countries supported our candidacy, and that was a demonstration of international reputation of the country and active foreign policy. And during 2 years of our chairmanship, we initiated important issues and addressed important global issues which were on the agenda of international community. And of course now, as a chair of non-aligned movement, which is the largest after United Nations international institution, we play an important role in international affairs and also support United Nations Secretary General's initiatives, especially on fighting COVID. And as you know, we, as a chair of NAM, initiated a special session of United Nations General Assembly devoted to coronavirus in the end of last year. And that was also our contribution to the global fight against this disease. And also, in national capacity, we provided assistance to more than 30 countries, financial and humanitarian, and also shared the vaccines with the countries which needed our support. So this demonstrates our agenda as a responsible member of the international community, and within our capacity and our potential, we try to contribute to the cause of peace and security. With the United Nations, our active interaction with institutions started as a result of Armenian aggression, and 1993 was a year where those famous resolutions of Security Council were adopted, which were a very positive step, very promising gesture of support and addressing the Armenian aggression. And the demand for immediate, full, unconditional withdrawal of Armenian troops from our internationally recognized territories was a very important political gesture of Security Council. But unfortunately, these resolutions were not implemented. And as you probably know, many times I personally raise this issue that there is no mechanism of implementation of Security Council resolutions. In one case, they implemented in a short period of time, but in our case, they were not implemented at all by international players. And especially what was of concern and was difficult to understand by Azerbaijani society, that those who adopted those resolutions, 3 out of 5 permanent member states, were the countries which were and still are the co-chairs of the Minsk group of OSCE. So they themselves adopted those resolutions, and they had a mandate to facilitate implementation of these resolutions, but unfortunately 28 years of the Minsk group were the years of lost opportunities. On many occasions I raised the issue of imposing sanctions on Armenia. because I thought that that could be the way how to avoid confrontation, avoid war. We wanted to resolve this issue peacefully. And speaking last year at the General Assembly, just several days before the war, I was warning international community that Armenia is preparing for war. That will not just say words for the sake of propaganda. That was a realistic analysis of Armenia's behavior in the months prior to the war. And unfortunately, I was right. So if sanctions were imposed on Armenia on time, if Minsk Group co-chairs, three leading countries of the world, used 5% of their potential to persuade or to force Armenia to withdraw its occupation forces, then the war wouldn't have happened. Therefore, the responsibility for the war not only lies on Armenia, but on those who could not or did not want to force them to comply with international law. Therefore, Azerbaijan implemented these resolutions itself within international law norms. We restored justice, we restored international law norms, we implemented United Nations Security Council resolutions ourselves, and we acted in accordance with UN Charter. Chapter 51 recognizes the right for every country for self-defense. So we used all the existing international instruments to restore our territorial integrity. So now the war is over, the conflict is resolved. There's, how to say, nothing to talk about what happened. We need to look to the future. And of course, our main concern now is the restoration of destroyed territories, which are in full devastation. And of course, we count on the future cooperation with United Nations on these issues related to humanitarian situation, issues related to our plans with restoration of the liberated territories, because we'll need more interaction with UN institutions. As you probably know, we also are in contact with UNESCO, and we've been waiting for UNESCO for almost 30 years. And I don't know whether you know it or not. A couple of years ago, last time, when we invited UNESCO to come, that was of course the time of occupation, to come and to see what has been done to our territories. Because OSCE Minsk Group twice sent a fact-finding mission to the occupied territories, and we've been asking them to send another mission, but they did not. We've been asking UNESCO to come and to see the damage to our historical monuments caused by Armenian aggressors, and they refused. And UNESCO officials were saying that UNESCO is not involved in political issues. But after war was over, we received the signals from UNESCO that they want to come. Of course, we expressed our surprise, because they were not coming for almost 30 years when we've been asking them, and they decided to come after the war. Therefore, we, of course, agreed to that, and as far as I know, the last information was that the mission had been already created, but now Armenia is objecting again. Therefore, it's again delayed. With other UN institutions also we are in permanent contact, and we will need broad international involvement and assistance from point of view of expertise, point of view of advices, because the area which we are now restoring is more than 10,000 square kilometers. And of course, we are in touch with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees Office, and we are planning to resettle the former refugees as soon as possible, but the main problem is landmines and total devastation. So we'll work with the United Nations and its institutions in good faith, as good partners, in order to achieve our main goal of restoration of liberated territories, and we count on very active involvement of your office in Baku. So welcome once again.
Thank you, Mr. President. United Nations and Azerbaijan have been friends for 29 years now. Next year we're going to mark the 30th anniversary since Azerbaijan has become a UN member state, but also 30th anniversary since UN has opened an office in Baku. So there's a lot to celebrate, but reflect as well. And I think the last 18 months have been unprecedented. COVID-19 has been a global crisis, and many nations have been struggling. And I want to commend you and the government for developing a very robust national COVID-19 response. But as you have mentioned yourself, this has been a moment where we really had to make sure that there is a renewed commitment to multilateralism and shared responsibility. And we are grateful for your efforts, first to initiate a summit of the non-alignment movement dedicated to a discussion on COVID-19 response, and then to initiate a special session on COVID-19 at the UN General Assembly. Vaccinations rate in Azerbaijan are again one of the most promising within the region, and the UN stands ready to help, as we have already done over the last 18 months. We have managed to support procurement of more than 4 million personal protective equipment items. We have invested in training, together with the government, of health workers, and more than 3,000 beneficiaries went through this training. And there is a public campaign on COVID-19 prevention that has reached more than 1 million people. As you have said, that was not the only challenge that Azerbaijani people had to go through over the last 18 months. And we do hope that the trilateral statement that was signed on 10th of November will be really a springboard for a long-lasting peace development, a new era, both for peace and cooperation in South Caucasus region. From UN side, we supported the government in December to do an assessment in Karabakh region, and we have mobilized immediately $1 million to support Anama with clearance of 6 districts along the former line of contact. We're going to continue to support national capacities for demining, as we do understand that this is a priority. And we also, on UN side, coordinating with both World Bank, EU, and other international partners to have a fund that is going to continue to offer training both for Anama, but ensuring that there is a state-of-the-art in the demining process. We are fully committed to support the efforts for safe and dignity return of IDPs in the region. Moving forward, on 1st of March, we have signed a new cooperation framework, a new pact between the United Nations and Azerbaijan. We're having a very ambitious 4 outcomes to work on in the next 5 years. What we really want to support is inclusive growth, and we want to work with young people to make sure that they have the skills for the job market. We also want to support government initiative for a more greener economy and strengthen the capacity of institutions that are delivering services in the area of health, social protection, education, and justice. And to round that, or to ground that, if you will, is really to support the efforts of the government to ensure that women and girls are empowered in all spheres of lives.
Prezident İlham Əliyev bugün Belçika Krallığının ölkəmizdə yeni təyin olunmuş fövqəladə və səlahiyyətli səfiri Michel Petermansın etimadnaməsini qəbul edib.
Belçika Krallığının ölkəmizdə yeni təyin olunmuş fövqəladə və səlahiyyətli səfiri Michel Petermans etimadnaməsini Prezident İlham Əliyevə təqdim etdi. Söhbət zamanı Prezident İlham Əliyevin Belçika Krallığına səfərləri və bu səfərlər zamanı Belçikalıların kralı Əlahəzrət Filiplə görüşləri xatırlanaraq, bu görüşlərdə ölkələrimiz arasında əməkdaşlığa dair çox səmərəli müzakirələrin aparıldığı bildirildi. Görüşdə Azərbaycanla Belçika Krallığı arasında əlaqələrin genişləndirilməsinin önəminə toxunularaq, əməkdaşlığın konkret sahələrinin müəyyənləşdirilməsi, o cümlədən ticarət dövriyyəsinin artırılması istiqamətində praktiki addımların atılmasının vacibliyi qeyd edildi. Michel Petermansın səfirlik fəaliyyəti dövründə ikitərəfli münasibətlərin inkişafına töhfə verəcəyinə ümidvarlıq ifadə olundu.